the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. And mountains crumble to the sea, there will still be you and me. Come woman, I'll give you my all. Kind of woman, nothing more. Little drops of rain, whisper all the pain, tears of love lost in the days gone by. Our love is strong, with you there is no wrong. Together we shall go until we die. Inspiration is what you are to me. Inspiration, love to see. So today, my world it smiles. Your hand in mine, we walk the mile. Thanks to you, it will be done. You to me are the only one. Happiness no longer sad. Happiness, I'm glad. If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. Mountains crumble to the sea, there would still be you and me.
Happy Valentine's Day, Cyberspace Cadets. It's Irate Prostate here. That's right. Happy VD. And you fantastic people. I've got your Valentine present for you right now. It's the most sexiest chunk of Valentine's chocolate I've ever seen in my life. Pat, what's up, man?
What's going on? I'm here.
That's right.
Unlike last week.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
What up? How's it going?
You're
what up, fam?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like your avatar looks completely different than it. You're starting to change that.
Oh wait, Oh, am I?
Yeah, you kind of look like Miles Beats with a black eye.
No. I'm Miles Beats on Ted Bundy's face.
Oh, yeah? Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I think that's a good segue, don't you?
It is, man. It is. So, yeah, we were just talking before we lit this shit up about what we're going to do next. And next week, we're going to do a film called Swiss Army Man. And then a week after that, we're going to do the Ted Bundy tapes thing, that hot takes, true crime. We hadn't done the true crime thing in a while. So get that shit rolling, right? And I guess now it's time to talk about the awesome Claymore. Last week we did episodes 1 through 14. We saw Teresa of the Faint Smile lose her head, and little Claire asked to be imbued with her blood, I guess her spirit. It's really vague the way that they talk about things. And then so it brings us to a point of where so Claire is on her. She has met Rocky. She has promised to meet Rocky, and because I think she's got emotional feelings for him. It's really kind of vague. That's one thing. That's a huge problem I have with anime. And I know that this might be like trying to translate comic book straight to a cartoon, like maybe 2 books per episode or even 1 book, and it's easier, I think, to build character over a period of 12 issues a year, versus 26 episodes, at one pop, so they're just throwing a lot of information at us, because I think that they ended up being like 155 comics total, right? And we've got 26 episodes to watch. Brian?
Well, okay. So I do want to start by saying at the very least, we have to take this at face value, because even if the manga was better, then we're watching it in video format, and that's where it has to shine. If it doesn't shine here, then it's not that great, to be honest. And with a recap on last week, I think that last week, what we were looking at was something that was really slow paced in the beginning, started to get a little bit interesting near the center. Near episode 7, it started to get kind of interesting. There's a lot more blood and gore, more fighting, stuff like that, right?
Right, especially like in the last 5 or 6 episodes, it was real, like a lot of really it was like it rolled really quickly. They were fighting all these different creatures. The design of the creatures were simplified from the black and white drawings, and if you're watching the screen, you can see just how beautiful some of the art was. And and when they do it in animation, and I understand this, they have to simplify it to a point of to where they can manipulate, because I don't know if they're using flash animation. I don't think they're using cells, like the old school.
No, this is clearly drawn.
Right. You think?
Yeah, it looks drawn all the way through, at least to me.
Okay.
I think that honestly, the point you're making is true to a certain extent, but if you want something to be of good quality, then you should take the time, and even if it takes 2 or 3 years to do it, then I'm guessing there's not a whole lot of progression past the end of this series, right? There's nothing else.
Well, and I don't want to rush it, but that's kind of why I wanted Cynic here, because last week he promised us this huge payoff. And I was like hugely underwhelmed on the last episode. The way they tied it up kind of was. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the last episode, like yeah, it left you with a whole bunch of questions, you know. Because me myself, when I saw the last episode, the first thing I'm thinking like, oh, they're gonna bring out a season 2 out of this.
Yeah, that's exactly what you think.
And it never happened,
right?
Because it left you with a whole lot of things. Because like you know, they're sitting up here, you know, talking about, you know, like that they're gonna go back to the organization, get some answers and shit like that. And then there's Easley where he, you know, he came in. And he saved Priscilla at the last minute because Clara was finna whoop her ass. And then it's like when they faced Easley, you know, Easley gave him like that little small amount of like energy that he had in stored right there, which was way out of their damn league. So just imagine, you know, if he hit his true form on them, he would have took out that whole entire group.
Yeah.
And it's like it just left you with so many things.
Right.
Exactly.
Like,
I want to kind of like go back like get like a recap of the whole entire thing. Cause I watched what y'all was talking about like last week about the whole how y'all was talking about like how going up in the series is like kind of like where's this all going at. It's like with the whole entire like series to me, it's like every episode just kept on, you know, just kept on giving you like little story by story to just, like keep you interested in this whole entire thing, like, you know. Like how her and Rocky met up and shit like that, you know, like this was Rocky's first time actually seeing like a Claymore in real life, and you know, and he like found him very interesting. Plus, like, you know, like with Rocky's thing, the reason why they got still together because, you know, like Rocky's brother actually turned out to be the Yoma that Claire came to like you know, like kill. So
right. Like
once that happened right there, you know, the village didn't trust Rocky and shit like that. They didn't know if he was going to be a Yoki as well because, you know, you can't tell. Once a Yoki has transformed themselves into like a human form and things like that, you can't tell who's who. And since his brother was one and shit like that, they just exiled him. So it's like then she was chasing after that other Yoma who disguised himself as a Claymore and used Rocky as a damn hostage. So it's like Rocky's all alone. So, you know, the reason why she took like a liking to him is like up there in episodes when Teresa came in and shit like that. It's like it was like the same exact thing, you know. Right. You know, like when Claire met Teresa and shit like that, you know, and Teresa was trying her best, like, you know, like to reject her because, you know, she's like number one. She's like this total badass and the reason why she stayed number one for so long is because she never held any emotions or nothing like that until she met Claire. Oh. Like when she met Claire.
So do you think that emotionality made her vulnerable?
Yes, that's the reason why. That's the reason why Priscilla was able to take her out and shit like that because, you know, spending all that time with Claire and shit like that kind of threw off her game.
So that's kind of like a social thing in Japan too, isn't it? There's kind of some values in there that are a little bit different. All right, that makes sense actually. But so yeah, and then it comes in with Teresa of the faint smile, and you know, like Pat was talking about, this little girl named Claire, you know, attaches to her real quick, and she tells her, "No, you don't want anything to do with me. I don't feel so. You know, if you want, you know, if you need mother and you need to go somewhere else." And the kid didn't listen, and she finally took her in, and then she's killed by Priscilla, who is who's the first one of the Claymores, which are females, to become what's the term?
Awakened being.
An awakened being, yes. And she awakens into this thing that looks like a unicorn with moth wings, and you know, and
how she did. Yeah, the thing is, how she did that right there is like, you know, it was like, just like I said, you know, like any other time, Teresa would have taken anybody like Priscilla out just like right then and there, but she showed like that small little bit of resistance, like, you know what, I'm going to grant you sympathy right here, and Priscilla just took advantage of that shit right there. Where any other time,
fucking arms off.
She probably would have, she would probably have slit her damn head off right then and there. But being around Claire that damn long kind of like gave her like a little bit of emotion that she hasn't been having all the time. Hence the reason why she's been number one for so damn long. But once she saw like that little vulnerability right there, Priscilla took her out.
So, all right, just for a second, I want to say hey to some people. Mad Dodge, hey man, what's happening? Melissa, thanks for showing up, people. Jolly Rogers Bilgewater, of course. Uzi Q, my one and only. That's right. The song that opened the show up was dedicated to her. Been through a lot. Melissa,
Happy Valentine's Day.
that's right. Hey, Cabbage Patch Bastard, what's up, dude? He's like a brother from another mother across the pond there. Okay. So by the time, all right, we finished the series. So Claire, who's obviously the main character, she's a full. She's number 47. So she's like the last out of the bunch. But there's a reason for that. Because she was imbued with the I guess the spirit of number one, so she meets Rocky. They have feelings and they promise each other that they're going to meet each other again, and so and she keeps going on, and so the momentum picks up and. They start fighting more and more of these awakened beings that are, I guess, male, because they say that there was males, that they were, awakening to them was like sex and like having an orgasm, right? And they had to bust a nut, basically.
Like because they used to have male claymores, but unfortunately, like I said, they didn't work because of that right there. It's like they got every time they would transform to the Yokiora and stuff like that, they get such a rush out of it that they couldn't hold on to reaching their limit, like the women can and things like that. So therefore, they ended up being like failed experience, and more.
So they don't pull out, right?
Yeah.
Oof.
I don't know. From what I've seen of the whole entire thing, it's like they started out as Yoma, then they became voracious eaters, then they became like awakened beings.
Yeah.
That's how I saw like in the ranks, like when they was talking about it as the series went on, like first you were fighting Yomas, then you were fighting voracious eaters, which I think that's what they encountered like the first one.
Yeah. Because that's interesting that you differentiate, because there were different terms that they used, and it confused me. Okay, I'll be honest, but I guess what you're saying, that it's a progression, right? You go from being a Yoma and then you transfer into a voracious eater. I don't know what they eat. I guess people. And then you become an awakened being. And then, and then at the end, when we run into Priscilla again, she's like a little girl. She's not even the person that transformed into the the unicorn with wings thing. With not a horse, but she's got like one horn sticking out of her head. People, okay.
If anything, it's like she kind of like progressed back into like a little child thing. I guess Easley must have he must have taught us something like that, how to reform back to like that shape.
Right.
Yeah, maybe he did.
I do have two complaints, okay, and they're related to Star Wars. Like Isley, actually they call him Easley, I think. It's like obviously his name is from Mos Eisley. And if you listen, man, they use the Star Wars blaster sound effect in conjunction.
They did,
with some thunder in the back of it, right? And I swear to God, every time it did it, I said, "What?" My brain just kind of took me out of it, right? And I don't know if that was an intentional thing, but you can tell that that when they end it, they obviously left all these unanswered questions, all these loose ends, and And then Isley tells Rocky that man, I'm coming back for you. You're not done. We're not done with your ass. And so what? So was he doing some kind of experiment, trying to see what would happen? It was just I didn't understand it.
I don't know. It's like I kind of, that's what I'm saying. It's like I kind of wonder if both like Claire, like Helen, Denver, and like Miriam and stuff like that. Once they figured out like the organization was kind of like shiesty and shit like that, and they want they were kind of like one like story for them. It seemed like Easley was like the same damn way, like like he had a grudge against the organization as well.
Yeah, almost
like they both.
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
it's like they both had like the same mission, but they were just both going at it a different way. It's like because even though they were questioning the organization, they still were like following orders. Compared to like Easley, who was just like basically just like taking his time to like and I don't know like if he along with old boy the old silver-eyed king and shit like that was like taking out these claymores and shit like that as a way to get to the organization.
Well, it seemed like when at the end when he says when he does his little spiel, it sounded like to me that he was trying to find the best of the best, and and it was the silver-eyed Lion King character, which was actually the rendering of that actually looked pretty decent to me. It looked a lot like the one in the comic.
Yeah, they did some great artwork on the God Awakens.
Yeah. And then let's see, the last couple of the critical point so Rocky joins up with Isley and Priscilla as a little girl, and Priscilla becomes attached to him, just like
she hooked onto his ass like glue.
Yeah, dude, exactly, man, and so he walks in on her in a cave, and she's buck naked eating some, I guess, a person or some shit. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what she was eating, but it was something that was not good.
Yeah, she was eating like one of the people that she had attacked.
Right.
And it's kind of like it's like she knew what she was doing, but she just couldn't help herself because like I said, she's part, she's an awakened being and shit like that. So she has like eating stuff like that, like in order to like survive. And it's like she doesn't want to do it, but it's in her nature to. Mm-hmm. And Rocky's doing like his best to like try to get her to stop and shit. And it's like it took her a hot while, but once she realized she looked at him and things like that, and Rocky's kind of had like that the disgusting look. I don't know. It's like she took a real liking to Rocky, like real goddamn quick. And like I said, she just met him and shit like that. And I mean, she was just like zoop, stuck to him like goddamn glue.
Well, and when she said he smelled like good, he smelled like maybe she was smelling what's her name on him? Claire. Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Probably, and then either was saying something like the scent of the South or whatever, because
the scent of the exactly, and she was from there. Blah blah blah. Brian, man, interject here. I want to hear you ramble about this for a wee bit.
I mean, I figured I'd give you guys some time because I don't really, to be honest, I could care less about the storyline. The storyline was it was high school angsty garbage, like almost all anime, to be quite honest. It was just so much cringe. I feel like this about this person, and I feel like this about but my feelings, and it's like, oh fuck, I can't be fucked to be invested in that.
like what? Like how?
Like the whole Claire Priscilla, Rocky thing. I don't give a shit about Rocky. He's a
No,
bad
nobody
character.
likes Rocky.
He's bad. Why? Why are we wasting time with this character in this series?
Excuse me.
Well,
It's
it's like I'm
just-
saying, even though Rocky is like a weak little bitch ass and stuff like that, and yeah, he is weak. Like I said, he spends most of the time just like whining and crying and shit like that, talking about how he's gonna protect Claire when he can't even protect his goddamn self.
Right.
But he did serve his purpose from time to time. Like like the many times, them couple of times where Claire like almost she reached her yoke limit and she almost awakened and stuff like that. But it's like him just basically like reaching out to her and calling out for her and telling her not to do it, was able to like help her like revert back to her form. So it's like a couple of times he helped her with that.
No, Rocky was a lodestone for fucking up a whole story. That's what he was. He literally shows up, gets every cool character killed. Like what the fuck?
Lodestone. That's a great word, man. $5 on you for that, man.
Right?
Yeah, no shit. That's a great word.
I know Melissa in the chat how BFB feels about anime. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, look, and that's the reason that we're doing this thing, because Brian and I both kind of walked into this thing. See, all right, my experience with anime was like Ghost in the Shell, Akira, some of the higher profile stuff. The older stuff, too. Which is fucking excellent, man. Akira, there's the only thing that even comes close storytelling wise to Akira, I would say, is the Berserk trilogy. I keep going back to that because that was so well done, and you got invested in all the characters, right? Mm-hmm. I gave a shit. I gave a shit about everybody in that fucking. And then when they all, and then at the end, when there's only guts left, it's like, oh shit, that was some fucked up shit, and they did in hell.
Okay, so I want to do a contrast real quick here.
Yeah,
the female character from Berserk, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was weaker than the other fighters, but she tried her hardest, and she was still effective in many ways.
Well,
right?
It's like One Punch Man. See, that's good too, I think.
One Punch Man is spectacular. Actually, I much rather would have watched that instead of this, because One Punch Man makes fun of all the other animes.
It does,
and it's great.
Yeah,
but
he has no powers. All of his One Punch ability comes through discipline and constant exercise, and I love that.
And 50 push-ups a day, of
exactly,
course.
50 push-ups a day. Exactly, man. That's fucking awesome.
That's not even that hard of a train, master. Like, that was great. That show is amazing. But we're talking about Claymore here.
Yeah, we are, man.
I was told that Claymore was the equivalent, or close to, the trilogy of Berserk, and I was led to believe that this was a really good anime series. Now, I don't like anime that much, but I am, even in genres that I don't like, for instance, like romantic comedies or romance, I would still say that, let's say, The Notebook is a good quality of movie,
Right.
It's clearly not my style, but I can recognize that the acting is good, that the, everything around it is good, and that everything that came together to make it was well thought out, right? But this is not that way. I've never read the manga. I'm assuming that this is a bastardization of the manga, because if it's accurate to the manga or manga or whatever you want to call it, then both suck.
I never read the main game, but it's like I like this series because, like I said, to me it had a great story. It had a great story plot to it. Like it kept you interested into the series as it went on. Like especially like explaining like the characters and like at first of how Claire came to be what she is right now before they like switched off just like certain stories.
Right.
But why do I? Go ahead.
What I was going to say is that, we would always keep running into Claire, it's like, all right, so she's one of the few characters that you get emotionally invested in, right? And she keeps running into these other Claymores, and it's like, no, who the fuck is that? She looks like this. And I got confused, And I know I can't be the only person that got confused by that, because they each have their own little symbol, and that's about the only thing that could differentiate them, because they, 3 or 4 of them has like short blonde hair, and it's like, what the fuck?
Right, give them some Power Ranger uniforms or something.
Yeah, it's like well, when you look at it, it's like they were all blonde. It's like some were bleach blonde, some were platinum blonde, some were like strawberry blondes and shit like that. So they kind of had like that thing going on. It's like
that one with the 2 swords. That one with the 2 swords is Boldyke blonde.
That sounded like a dude.
It was Boldyke blonde.
I was thinking it was a dude, right?
That was her thing was that you seen what happened. Have you seen like how her story was?
Yeah,
like where her best friend or something like that she was like partnered up with like died, so she took up her burden. That's the reason why she had like 2 swords.
Right.
It was like her friend's sword that she always held with her dominant hand, and it's like that's what it basically was. And I think what her friend died like protecting her and shit like that, so she made a vow to get stronger, so that way a lot of people don't like saying don't have to die on her part and things like that. And you see at the end, Denver ended up taking up her burden as when she got killed by old Lion King and shit.
Right.
Because she had found out her secret, even though she had vowed to get stronger and stuff like that, what she was actually doing is that she was abusing her Yokiora to make herself look all buffed up and stuff like that, but she was actually the smallest out of everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And she was when I can't remember who walks in on her, she's like,
it was Denver.
Okay. Dude, you have a fucking fantastic memory, because I can't. I've got CRS disease. Can't remember shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's frustrating, for me, because part of me, really wants to like it. And then when I look at the drawings from the manga, man, I'm going, God damn, this is a beautifully drawn book. And see, there's like right now we're talking. If you look to the screen, you'll see the black and white pictures are taken from the manga, and like the one that's showing right now. See, I didn't see some of these, that were in the series, which was which was definitely a kind of a letdown, because I wanted to see some more of those awakened beings that were, actually kind of cool. Now, when there's a scene where, I guess it was Claire, wasn't it, being tortured?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't. Wait, I don't think it was Claire. It was Jean.
Yeah. Okay, and Claire walked in on him, and then so during the fight with really with the Lion King, and then with what's her name, Priscilla, she halfway transforms. She manipulates her energy, or Yoki, and like goes like a awakened being from the waist down, right? Yeah, you know what I'm thinking.
Right? Well, it brings up the question: people just accidentally awaken all the time? Is that why you gotta kill them, or do they only half awaken? Does an arm awaken? What are you doing? Where you've got to have some sort of structure here for your story to make a lot of sense. And there was a lot of just, hey, we made up this rule all of a sudden.
Right.
No, the thing was, according to what there was an organization, as the thing was, like they rely upon the power of their Yoki side in order to to do their job, to when Yoma transform themselves into human. That's the only way they can actually see, detect Yoki are together and Yoma in their presence when they tend to damn, I can't get my shit together. They rely on their Yoki aura and stuff like that in order to predict them. But if they use up too much and reach their limit to the fact of what they can't revert, then they end up coming Yoma themselves, and it's up to like other Claymores to like kill them. But somehow,
there's like what 5 or 6 of them that can awaken all the way, and then revert back, right?
Yeah, but they didn't start reverting back until like that first time where Claire like she had reached her yoke limit when she was fighting at that holy place, and Rocky was able to like speak to her and call back to her and stuff like that, where she was able to revert back. That's when they put in that mission where they're like her, Helena, Denver, and Miriam and shit. And goddamn, man, I done ran up on some pepper, something like that. It's my damn nose. And they fought that male awakened being.
Yeah, the brown guy that kind of looked like a spider. So they fought the male awakened being, and then he was surprised when they could, undo their awakenedness, and then they couldn't tell the organization because they would get killed, or and they have to watch out for the fourth. What's her name? The fourth, number 4, because she loves hunting down the Awakens, and then
that heifer was crazy.
Yeah, and then she like hunts down her own Claymore. Like she fights her own Claymore and toys with them while there's an Awaken there.
It's like she gets the thrill off of like I'm saying, like seeing seeing them like awaken just so she can kill them and shit like that.
Yeah, well, this also doesn't make sense, right? Because go ahead.
I was gonna say my question is okay, so did she like turn into like a full adult when she got the blood from Teresa, or did they train her, over a period of years? Because they
trained her.
Yeah, they trained her, man.
So see, I needed to see that. I needed to see her go under training at least for 5 minutes at the fucking school learning how to do shit, right?
I think they trained her before they like infused her like with the blood of Teresa and shit like that. Yeah. But it's like they used Claire as like a test subject and shit like that. That's the reason why they kept her at 47, even though she had the blood of Teresa, who was like the top number 1 of the whole entire crew.
Yeah.
She was kind of like this special case that they were just basically like keeping tabs on like little by little, just seeing if she was gonna how quickly she was gonna boot.
Yeah, that's true. As for the villains, I really actually liked the artwork that they did with even some of this black and white to the actual anime. I think that like the Lion God guy looked better in the anime, to be honest. They really did a great job on that artwork, and that was something I was actually surprised about because, like I said in the first half of this, one of my complaints was that their noses, they were literally just L shapes as you turned, and it was really to me it seemed like cheap half-assed facial drawings, and they kind of, you can see right here on your screen that all the faces sort of looked the same.
Yeah.
But then you've got these crazy demons that they drew, and it looked spectacular, and that really helped out, at least for me, on the graphic design there. It made it more entertaining, especially with the fact that most of the second half of the series was fighting. So I thought that was really cool. A little bit of a plot hole that I noticed when they went up into the hills to fight the other awakened being / voracious eater, not the first one where they found out that they would.
Are you talking about the one in the cave?
Yes, I'm talking about the one in the cave.
I like that. No.
I'm not saying that was bad. What I'm saying is that, being that they knew about these 3 gods, that's basic lore amongst all the Claymores, they sort of, it surprises me that they would be surprised that would be what was in the hills, because they knew where that person was,
Right.
Like, this seems like a huge plot hole. We know that there's a god over there in those hills, right? We know this. We have known this for a long time. It is legend. And we sent some of our weaker ones to show up and maybe figure out what was going on, why people were dying. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but there's a god in those hills that you already know about. You know, it seemed like a huge plot hole.
Right. No, you're making absolute sense, Brian. It's just it's kind of a mess because in places it really works and looks good, and then the rest of it is. I mean, that's like maybe, in my opinion, I was really wanting to like it.
What up, MC?
When it got into like the last, I don't know, I guess what, 4 or 5 episodes, it kind of rolled along, and I was kind of like going to the next episode, right, to see, what was going on. Do you think that this is made to maybe be seen in like one sitting, like a binge watch thing? Because in 2007 it came out on Japanese television, right, and it ran from let's see, I want to say April the 4th, 2007 to September 26th, 2007. So it was a weekly serial, right?
Yeah.
And they do, they I don't know where you saw it. I watched it on Hulu. And
yeah, I watched it on Hulu too.
Yeah, so they kind of like recapped the previous episode, briefly, and then put you into it. But there's a lot of these moving parts that you're right that just kind of, they're just moving, and
there's
you're right, you don't know why, and it's like I wanted to see somebody train, and because there should have been a payoff, but it seemed like it was empty. Like right after they beat the big, they beat Priscilla, or Priscilla really, she actually just transforms back into a child, and Rocky won't let Claire kill him, excuse me, because their love, and eventually he pulls her out of that awakened state.
That awakened state she was in,
right? Which is, they should have put more emphasis on the relationship with Rocky and her. I needed to see that over like 5 or 6 episodes instead of like half of one episode and then half of the other episode, and then she leaves, right, and makes that promise to him.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Who is so that blonde guy that was taking care of Priscilla, right?
Isley,
right?
Like Isley.
Yeah. Who even is that?
Yeah.
They didn't tell us.
You just somebody that showed up. I'm saying like at the damn the last minute. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering was he one of those male claymores and shit like that that I don't know, that got exiled or isolated, and he just found some way to protect him, to train himself to become the powerful motherfucker that he is. Because like I told you, when you see him at the end, when he confronts all the rest of them, he gives off that little burst of energy, that just makes them if we try to take on this dude, even all of us put together, he'd whoop our ass.
Well, remember he meets that gang of them, and he tells them to skedaddle. That they won't be needed, and so there was a bunch of those awakened beings that just split, and so I think maybe he was used to tie up a little and tease a lot, as a plot device. I even wonder if his character's even in the comic, because
which is why I thought there was going to be a season 2, but nothing never happened. They even to this day right here, they still ain't said nothing, and people are still talking about, are we ever going to see a season 2? And they're just nobody said anything because it left you with so many different questions.
Well,
in a season in a season 2 of Claymore really would make some sense.
yeah, exactly. You know, and at least put all the shit together. But you know, see, I want to say that the all right. So the book came out in January 2002, and the final issue was issue 155 was. So they come out in chapters, right? What they did, all right,
Yeah.
what I'm looking at Wikipedia. So what they did was that they kind of packed all the comics that went per episode, right? And so the last scene is proof of life, and it's you know it was number 55, and it came out in 2014, December 2014. So literally the thing ran 12 years. And you know
Wow.
what? Think about that, right? Because there's a similar problem that's going on with The Walking Dead. You know, that the comics is still going on, and there's so much shit in the comic that was actually pretty good that they fucking automatically just cut out of the TV show. And everybody's all pissed off about that. We could do a fucking special about The Walking Dead and what a piece
I'd be
of
down.
shit. All right. Well, then,
Why The Walking Dead sucks.
I'm saying between the comic, the TV show, and the video game, it's like, man.
and then there's you know, the Fear the Walking Dead, which is a shitty title. I'm just saying. You know,
I haven't even watched that.
actually,
I refuse to watch it, to be honest.
to be honest, because there's no canon. It's actually a little bit better. Because they've really got really good actors. Coleman Domingo's a fantastic actor, and Kim Dickens, of course, she's from my home state, but she's still a great actress. She plays the same the character is this depressed person that has no. She would be good as Teresa the Faint Smile if they did a live action version of this. I think we want to see a live action version of this, don't we?
What, Claymore? I don't know. In this day and age, man.
Yeah.
'Cause all these, I'm saying, if they did, like I said, you know, I don't know. I say make it in. I don't know now. Even that, like I'm saying, have you seen like the other live version?
Yeah,
Shit like that, like Bleach and Full Metal, like
Full Metal Alchemist, man. We did
God.
that. Yeah, Brian and I covered the Full Metal Alchemist.
That was a nightmare, man. They cut out so much, man.
Kill me with a
Try to make
hammer.
to try to make that shit work, and I'm just like, no, hell no.
Well, what was so cool though, it was the opening scene was fantastic, and then it just fucking falls to pieces, right? You know, when the guy's getting chased by the dude that's wielding magic or whatever. You know, those effects look great, man, but it's just I don't know, the story was a fucking mess.
I'd say it was on par with The Last Airbender.
But they cut out so much. But yeah, a live action Claymore, no, they'll screw that up.
Yeah.
No. Look, the live action Claymore has to be a porno. I'm just saying, it just has to be. That's the only way to make it good.
Yeah.
Weird tentacle demons? Come on.
It's almost like they put tits in these things just to, you know, make sure that their demographic keeps watching it. Well, go ahead.
There was some nudity up in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Ophelia, when she fully turned an awakened being.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was after the part where she, Quicksilver Elena had came into the trying to teach Claire the whole Quicksilver thing, but she couldn't, so she just sacrificed her arm.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, she
I
I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, she whipped her arm around and cut her own arm off with the hand that had the sword in it. So that's pretty impressive, considering most people wouldn't be able to do that at all.
Yeah, but then again, you know, they are, you know,
anime.
They are abnormal, anime and shit like that. They're part human, part animal, so they got that streak. Just like saying, anybody who can hold a goddamn, claymore sword, which is basically a two-handed sword with one hand.
True.
Exactly. Well, what did you think of? All right, so the opening title song is something I've got to talk about, right? Because it opens up with this fucking Chili Peppers type funk bass, man. I mean, the dude's just thumping the fuck out of it. And and it's got this metal sound, and then it stops, and it goes into this really weird melodic, like, I don't know, man. It drove me crazy.
You're talking about the intro to the show?
Yes, the intro song, because it goes, it's like, yeah, man, I'm banging my head and shit, and then it goes, it's like, holy shit, man, what the fuck? Go ahead.
I've never got the intros and shit like that. Well, number one, I can't understand what the hell they're saying, even when they translate. It's like,
well, it's interesting because the version I saw had like a phonetic Japanese for the lyrics, so it was interesting to see how they did their phraseology and stuff. That that was the take I got from it.
No, they actually showed I think it's on YouTube. Like they got the Claymore series. Mm-hmm. And they actually translate it into English, and it don't make sense. But then again, all Japanese music, because it don't rhyme or nothing like that. It's just basically, them just like telling a story, but you can't tell.
Right, and I think the song's about a love that's forbidden or some shit. I don't know.
Of course it is.
You know it is, man.
It's about some love that's forbidden in their high school angst and the fact that
and then they go back into that Chili Peppers bass, man. It's fucking Flea just tearing the fuck out of that bass. Mm-hmm. It's like, yes, no, yes. It's like, God. I don't know.
And there's zombies in there somewhere.
Well, and then there's the scenes where they have the bagpipes and the fucking, it's called a tabla, which is a percussive instrument that is native to the country of India, right? And you'll hear them being played like during the sitar, like Ravi Shankar stuff. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that music. Obviously, I'm shooting a blank here, so we'll move on. It's like, oh shit. Irate,
you don't want to be shooting blanks on Valentine's Day, fam.
That's right.
Well, I mean, or maybe you do, But I think it's about that time. What rating would you give this, Irate?
Okay, if you like anime, you'll probably like this. Okay, but personally, I give the last like 6 episodes, I give that like a 7, right? But the thing as a whole, I think there was a lot of stuff that just got lost in the translation from whatever, I don't know. I'm gonna give it like a 4.5, which is a pretty bad rating.
What about you, Pat?
Me, like I told you, like y'all, I actually love this anime right here. Like, to me, like I said, it had a interesting plot that kept you like interested throughout the whole entire thing. I thought the anime was good, and the story building of it. The only thing I didn't like is like at the ending, it left you with so many goddamn questions. It had you wondering and thinking that there was going to be a season 2 to this right here, but it never happened. So like those questions are still unanswered. Like
exactly.
like what happened? Like did they go to the organization? What happened to Priscilla and Easley after that and stuff like that? What happened between Claire and Rocky? Like did they go on to live happily ever after together, or did did Rocky ever stop being like the little bitch throughout the whole entire season, and actually got a little stronger, like how everybody kept telling them to? Like what happened after that? Nobody knows, because they just stopped right then and there, and there hasn't been no season 2 since then. So it's like, if anything, like I said, I have to give this like, in my opinion, I have to give it like an 8.
Fair enough.
Just for that simple right there, you know,
Yeah.
it just left you with so many questions at the end.
I think you cut out. What was the rating?
So I give it about an 8, just for that simple fact,
not
like
bad.
you know, it left me with so many questions.
Yeah, personally, like I said, I don't like anime, but I can easily say that this gets a solid 5.5 in my book.
Okay.
And the reason why, the animation itself was good. I felt like, in the end, they really made up for the beginning of their animation. The surroundings and all of the newer characters they were introducing looked amazing.
Yeah, the snow looked good. Yeah.
Exactly. The reason it got a low rating for me was that basically there's too many plot holes in this. There's no completion. If you're doing a story arc, you want to make sure you have that nice peak there, so everyone feels like, you know, they get some closure at the end of your show, or you know, like they were working up to something. And even in Zombie Apocalypse series and stuff, the peak's right at the beginning. So you get that right there with the whole outbreak and everything. But you don't get any of that from this. I mean, there is defeating the gods, I guess, but those don't show up till like episode 21, 22?
Right.
Like, you know, the actual battle with the lion god and everything. So that's not exactly a peak. They didn't really build up to that.
Yeah,
They just sort of...
You know what? I think it would have been a better game. Maybe.
It would have been if they had known about those guys if they had mentioned them, because clearly they all knew about it.
Right.
If they had mentioned it in the beginning of the series, that would have been something to work to. That would have been...
Yeah, there would have been a boss fight, right? Every couple episodes, you know, you fight some Yoma, and then you have a boss fight with an awakened or a voracious eater, and then it goes from voracious eater to awakened beings, right? That would have been that would be actually fun to, you know, try to fight those things, man.
Yeah. If another thing, like I said, I didn't like about the whole entire series, it was the blood. It's like, you know, it's like every time they did like a cut or something like that, blood just went like shooting everywhere, and it was like that. It wasn't even like I'm saying like realistic. It was just like that old just childlike just gushing blood. Even when they got like a tiny little cut, man, everything was just like, you know, just shooting out, like I'm saying, like
Yeah, well, like J horror.
fountain.
Yeah, J horror is like that too. They just use gallons and gallons of blood, man. They splatter it everywhere, man.
Yeah,
suicide
just like
blood.
get a tiny cut and just
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but I feel like that's something that is totally fine for an anime. You know?
right.
Everything else is over-exaggerated. The fact that they can, like Jolly Rogers Bilgewater said, you know, they're holding a 5-pound, 5-foot sword in one hand, or I'm assuming it's actually probably a little heavier than that.
Right.
But you know, they're holding this in one hand. It's okay that it's unbelievable that the blood would just spurt out like it's on a sprinkler in a Dawn of the not Dawn of the Dead, Dusk Before Dawn movie style.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
that's something that I was okay. I'm like, okay, well that's fine. You know.
Yeah, it's I guess it's easiest to suspend disbelief right there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. That's a complaint a lot of people have about not just, you know, anime, but Japanese horror as a whole too. Is that they use that gushing gallons of blood spurts splattering, man. It's just like ridiculous.
yeah, your average Claymore was like 5.5 pounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a beautiful
So
sword.
that's a heavy sword.
Yeah. And it was, you know, they're meant to be wielded, but with two hands.
With two hands.
Yeah,
like,
so
you know,
Jolly Rogers
and
builds
this being
one.
it.
Yeah, he's right about
Yeah,
it.
and this being anime, and these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, you know, they handle it with one and shit like that. So you just imagine how powerful they were.
Well, and the claymores, you know, in the show were like, you know, twice as wide as the actual claymore.
Yeah.
You pulling one up, Brian, to look at?
Yeah, I'm looking. So The average one is 5.5 pounds, but you're absolutely right. It's about half the width.
Right. So it would have taken some, but then again, then there was that speed technique.
The Hitachi vibrator.
Does
that feel good?
How could you do that? I can't see your blade. What are you doing? I should do voices for animation now.
Like I said, just imagine, like I said, if you were somebody like Quicksilver Lane, you right here just handling this damn 5.5 pound blade, man, like it ain't shit, just
right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I guess we're at the top of the hour, and we've said basically all that we can say about this series. So you know what you like, and
oh no,
you got an idea of what we like, right? So make your decision. But
next, so my internet.
Next week, we're going to be going.
Pat, you there?
We're going. Yeah, we can hear you. Man. Oh fuck, it's me, man. It's my fucking internet. In Discord. Hold on. And that's like all right. So anyway, so on that note, people. Next week we're going to see. We'll be talking about Swiss Army Man, and then the week after that we'll be doing the Ted Bundy tapes. So, and I'll have the actual title of that for y'all. But everybody, you want to say goodbye?
Hey, I'm back.
There we go.
Yeah. I was just I was doing some patter here. My voice was going straight out, so everybody could hear what I was saying. It was my connection, and I tried to bop out and pop back in. It didn't work. So,
no, I think it was Discord, man, because mine went red.
Yeah, she says hearing you fine. Mine did too. Melissa says that we're fine. So, on that note, guys, you want to say bye-bye and happy Valentine's Day?
Well, yeah, of course. Bye-bye. Come check out my channel soon because I'm going to be making a chocolate dick.
Tonight? Are you going to do it?
Tonight. It's going to be out tonight.
Well, fuck yeah.
Chocolate dick, bro.
Let's go hang out.
What a great job.
Just for Irate.
Oh, dude. I ain't going to say what's in my head, man. I got too much taste for that shit. All right.
Hope everybody had a good Valentine's, whether they were single or with the person that they love forever and ever.
Indeed.
It's always a pleasure having you on, too, Pat.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah. It's always fun doing this.
I apologize that I shit all over anime every time, though.
Well, man.
Well, Sword Guy, I was with you. Because, I mean, Jesus Christ. I'm glad they didn't make a season 3 of that.
Oh, they didn't order another season of that?
I don't think they did, and they don't need to.
Yeah, no shit. You know, and then there's like Godzilla. It's part 3 came out.
Oh God.
And part 4 is fixing to come out too. I don't know, man.
Burnt Turd Part 3.
Yeah. Mechagodzilla's a city. No, Daddy, no.
I'm liking the Godzilla so far.
Fair enough. Don't you do it, Irate. Don't you do it. I don't want to have to watch it.
All right, people. This is Irate. I'm saying we're OUT. Guys, let's say goodbye. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, fam.
Thank y'all. Bye.